I'd like to call the meeting, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Oxnard City Council Public Works and Transportation Committee for May 25th. Can we take the roll call, please, Madam Clerk?
Councilmember Lopez.
Here.
Mayor Zaragoza.
Here.
Chair Perrello.
Here.
Chair, the meeting agenda was posted on Thursday, May 20th, in the outside kiosk located outside of council chambers.
Okay, thank you very much. And can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Please repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's it? Okay. Okay. Madam Clerk, I see that we have one public speaker on items not on the agenda, Mr. Patel.
Mr. Portello is not available at this time.
Okay. Moving to the consent agenda. We have the approval of the minutes. I've seen a couple of things that need to be corrected. The earliest one and the most blatant is our Assistant City Attorney, Mr. Paul Early, the spelling of his name. And the last thing I want to do is get an attorney's name spelled wrong. So there's one or two other things. I'd like to hold the minutes over if the concurrence of the committee, so we make sure that we get our minutes correct. And these are the minutes for January 26th. I know this is going to be a long time, but I'm hoping that we can get the minutes more prompt because we're looking at February, March, April, and we're 3/4 of the way through May. And going that far back, oftentimes it's hard to remember exactly what's been said. And I think the professionalism needs to be shown a little better. So would it be all right with the committee members if we hold these minutes over till the next meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you very much, committee members.
Okay.
Moving to the first item on the agenda is a report, Public Works Department. The subject, award agreement A-8316 to Groundskeepers Incorporated for landscape maintenance services for various locations. The recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommends that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute trade agreement number A-8316 with Groundskeeper Incorporated for a total value of $550,000 for a 3-year term ending June 30th, 2024 to provide landscape maintenance services at various locations throughout the city. There was a presentation for the public, but due to Measure M, it is pre-recorded and the presentation will not be seen. It is available on the city's website. I don't see that we have any speakers on this item. Do we, Madam Clerk?
No speakers.
Okay. Do we have any questions on the item for the City Council committee members?
No, sir.
No. Councilwoman Lopez?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you for the presentation. Just a kind of a clarification, if anyone on staff can share how with these sites, how they're broken down or grouped under this contract. How do we determine that with any other sites that need maintenance that is contracted out?
Good evening, Chair Lopez. This is Brian Yanes, Assistant Public Works Director, and committee members. We have 11 locations, and they range from water to wastewater to environmental resources, and then the Oxnard Transit Center. Those are the locations. Water has several locations, and so does wastewater. Out of those 11 locations, only one impacts the general fund, which is the Sturgis Police Station annexation, and that's about $4,200 annually for the maintenance there.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Yanes.
Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you, Mr. Yanis, for the responses. Are we increasing the amount of maintenance that is going to go into these, Mr. Yanis? Are we increasing the amount of maintenance that's going to go into this versus what we have done in the past?
There was a few increases on the frequency on some of the locations, one being the wastewater location, which is a little more landscaping and there is more detailed in that location. So some of the locations did increase frequencies and some of extra work that may be needed throughout this contract.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your presentation and appreciated the presentation from Mr. Housley, and thank you for filling in on this. Do we have any further discussion by the committee members?
I'd like to make a motion, but Mr. Chair, that's a really great table, and which is the following spending plan for the fiscal year that shows a lot of those excellent numbers that the council member was asking for. I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I'll second that. And I want to coattail on the mayor's comments. It's impressive presentation in the staff report. Thank you. Madam Clerk, may we take a roll call, please?
Councilmember Lopez,
Yes.
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Chair Perillo.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item number 2, Public Works Department. Subject, First Amendment to Agreement A-8221 with Big Truck Rental LLC for rental of refuse collection trucks for the Environmental Resources Division. The recommendation that the Public Works and Transportation Committee recommend that the City Council approve and authorize the mayor to execute a First Amendment to Rental Agreement A-8221 with Big Truck Rental LLC in the amount of $621,600 for a new total not to exceed $1,243,200 and to extend the term to June 30th, 2022 for the rental of refuse collection trucks. Again, due to the approval of Measure M, which is still to be determined in court, the item is not going to be presented now, but it was available on the city site. And do we have any speakers on this, Madam Clerk?
No speakers, Chair Perillo.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. And do we have any questions of staff on this item, committee members?
Mr. Chair, I questioned for staff. So MRAP had the contract before. Now we're going with BRT. Is that correct? MRAP, excuse me, had it before, and it was transferred to BTR, the contract. Is that correct?
Yes, Chair, Mayor, and committee members, Todd Vasquez Housley, Environmental Resources Division Manager. AMREP was the initial lessor, and there was a sale between companies where it was transferred legally to the current company's name. We have all of the documentation back to that point. So it's essentially, we're getting the same results with a different company at this point.
Yeah, and by the way, just for information, I know that MRAP's been around for years and years and years, you know. And in fact, they started off with the automated collection program many years ago. So good company, but I'm sure that BTR do just as well. Oh, they just merged. Oh, I see. So they're there. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Todd.
Yeah, AMREP, just to be clear, AMREP is still the manufacturer, but the leasing company is Big Truck Rental.
It's a consolidation. Okay, very good.
Right.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lopez, do you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And thank you, Mr. Vasquez Housley, for the presentation. So I understand that we're having 7 trucks that will be rented while the 9 lease to purchase vehicles are delivered or brought to the city. So the difference between 7 and 9, is that how is that going to work out? Or do we still have 2 vehicles that can be used until the full 9 are brought online for service?
Yes, Councilmember Lopez, The answer to that question is yes, we have sufficient fleet to continue collection. The 7 rented vehicles are to help get us through the delivery of the new lease purchase vehicles that council voted on March 2nd. As we receive those new vehicles, we can send each lease vehicle back so that we're not spending basically spending the same money twice. But we do have sufficient vehicles. Knock on wood, we don't have any other failures between now and the delivery. We do have sufficient for our routing.
Okay, thank you.
I just had one question with respect to the PowerPoint, and it says legally the AMREP the AMREP legally transferred the agreement to Big Truck Rentals. In that transfer, the equipment and the requirements and the material or the manufacturer, exactly whatever it is, what the city is buying has not changed, or what the city is leasing has not changed. Can I come to that conclusion?
That is correct, Chair Perrello.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want to thank the committee members for the questions you asked. Is there any discussion?
No, Mr. Chair, move approval of the item.
Second,
Okay, Madam Clerk, may we take the roll, please?
Mayor Zaragoza,
Yes.
Councilmember Lopez,
yes.
Chair Perrello,
Yes,
motion passes 3-0.
thank you, Madam Clerk. Committee members, do we have any items for future agendas?
No. Mhm.
No.
Okay. I have an item that I believe I asked the council. I'd like to just reiterate it. There is a assembly bill being pushed forward, and it's Assembly Bill 1139. It is by Lorena Gonzalez, and it has to do with the solar panels. There is several pieces of information coming out in the news services that there may be now a charge to individuals that have solar panels on their roofs currently. Something, and another story that is in not a valid news. I consider KNX, CBS News Radio a pretty valid source. They're saying that the rates that people are paid for their surplus power is going to be diminished excessively, and the charges that they receive for the power that they use will still be at the retail rates, so that it could be up to $70 per homeowner being charged for having solar panels on his roof. And I'd like the city to, and I believe Public Works is a place to hear this, weigh in on this thing, because we, as the city of Oxnard, has solar panels, and one of the arguments against it is that the people that are unable to afford solar panels are going to be hurt more than others that have solar panels. If the city could give a presentation to this committee, tell us what's going on. That's my request.
And I
Mr.
I
Chair,
agree.
given that it's legislation in Sacramento right now, we'll have the city attorney's office provide a quick update as soon as we can to this committee.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's a good point. Yeah. Thank you.
Any other comments by the committee members or the city manager or attorney?
Nope.
Okay, with that, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Shucks.
Go
Thank
down.
you.